All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the tech that, let's be honest, runs our entire digital world. We're talking about servers, those invisible silent workhorses that are powering literally everything you do online. I mean, really think about it for a second. You tap your phone screen, you click a button on your laptop, and boom, something happens on the other side of the world instantly. An email arrives, a movie starts playing, a website just appears. It feels like magic, right? But what is actually going on behind the scenes? Well, it turns out that every single one of those clicks, every one of those taps, you're communicating with a computer somewhere else. A really powerful, specialized machine we call a server. It's the central hub, it's the unseen engine that's processing, delivering, and organizing all the data that makes your digital life possible. This quote right here, it gets to the absolute core of what a server is. See, it's not just another powerful computer. Its entire reason for existing is to be relentlessly, unfailingly available. It doesn't get weekends, it never gets a day off. It just has to work. So how is that different from, say, the PC sitting on your desk? Well, your computer is built for one person, you, to use whenever you feel like it. A server, on the other hand, is designed from the ground up to serve hundreds, maybe thousands of people all at the same time. It's all about centralization, rock-solid reliability, and the ability to scale up. Honestly, these are just things your PC was never meant to do. To pull off that kind of constant uptime, a server needs a very special kind of foundation. So let's start our teardown at the very first layer, the hardware itself. Now, on the surface, the parts list looks pretty familiar, right? CPUs, RAM storage, but in a server, everything is just more. It's supercharged. We're talking about multiple processors packed with cores to handle tons of requests, huge amounts of high-quality RAM, and storage systems that are designed for both insane speed and incredible resilience. And this is where the whole design philosophy takes a sharp turn away from a normal computer. It's not just about being fast. It's about building a system that actually expects parts to fail and is designed to survive when they do, often without anyone even noticing something went wrong. So how do they do that? Well, a key piece of tech here is something called RAID. Instead of putting all your data on just one hard drive, RAID cleverly spreads it out across multiple drives. So if one of those drives physically fails, and trust me, they do, the server doesn't crash. The whole system just keeps on chugging along, using the data from the other drives. It's a fantastic way to protect your information and make sure the service stays online. Okay, so we've got this super tough, resilient hardware. But what's telling it what to do? What's the conductor of this orchestra? Well, that brings us to the next layer, the brains of the whole operation, the server software. You know your desktop OS, right? Like Windows or Mac OS. It's all built around a beautiful graphical interface. It's meant for you to click around in. A server OS is a totally different beast. It couldn't care less about a fancy interface. Its entire focus is on pure stability, ironclad security, and efficiently juggling thousands of network connections all at once. And running on top of that specialized OS are the apps that do the actual work. This is where it all connects back to you. When you stream a movie, you're talking to a web server. When you send an email, a mail server takes care of it. When you access your company's shared drive, a file server is doing the heavy lifting. Every job has its own specialized piece of software. Now, with all this important data and all these critical services running on one machine, that server becomes a pretty valuable target. So the next layer we have to build is a fortress around it. Let's talk about server security. The entire philosophy behind modern server security can basically be boiled down to this one simple idea from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It's called the principle of least privilege. The idea is you don't give any user or any program more access than it absolutely positively needs to do its job. That way, if one small part gets compromised, the damage is contained. So how do you actually put that principle into practice? Well, through a process called hardening. Think of it like reducing the number of doors and windows in your fortress. You shut down and disable any software that isn't essential. That shrinks your attack surface. You set up a strong firewall to inspect all the traffic coming in and out. And of course, you lock down all the user accounts with strong passwords and minimal permissions. For decades, the rule was pretty simple. One server meant one physical box doing one specific job. But then this revolutionary idea came along that completely changed how data centers work. Let's look at the modern twist, virtualization. Virtualization was an absolute game changer. It's this amazing technology that lets one incredibly powerful physical server pretend to be dozens of smaller, separate servers all at the same time. Each of these virtual machines is totally isolated from the others, running its own operating system and its own apps. This massively boosted efficiency, and really, it's what paved the way for the whole cloud computing boom we see today. But here's the thing. You don't just set up a server and walk away. It's not a set it and forget it kind of deal. It's more like a living thing that needs constant care and attention to stay healthy, secure, and reliable. And that is an ongoing mission. In the world of server administration, you will hear this number all the time, 99.999%. They call it 5 nines. It's the gold standard, the holy grail of server uptime. But what does 99.999% availability actually mean in the real world? It means that over an entire year, 365 days, the server is allowed to be down for a grand total of just 5.26 minutes. Not per month, not per week, per year. That's insane, right? And that is exactly why constant monitoring, keeping meticulous logs, and having rigorous backup plans aren't just good ideas. They're absolutely essential if you ever want to get close to that target. So where is all of this technology headed? Let's wrap this up by looking at the single biggest trend that's shaping the future of where and how we use servers. This chart tells a really powerful story. For years and years, it was individual companies, enterprises, that were the main buyers of servers for their own offices. But look at this massive shift. Today, it's the giant cloud providers, your Amazons, Googles, and Microsofts, that are buying them by the millions. By 2024, it's predicted they'll be running 3 out of every 4 servers on the planet. We are renting our computing power way more than we're owning it. And that leaves us with a really critical question for the future, doesn't it? As our demand for data and constant 24/7 connection just continues to explode, we're faced with this huge balancing act. How do we design the next generation of servers to be even more powerful and even more secure, while also being efficient enough to manage the immense energy footprint of our digital world? That's the challenge ahead.